dedicated line where they can call in to voice whatever complaints they may have. And so we could have someone there to respond timely.
And finally,
Assigned
before
to
my
that.
time runs out, you spoke about your strategy for envisioning a future for automobile for hire industry. What would that look like? What's your strategy?
So, let me just get to it. So my strategy for that, as I stated in my testimony,
You should know that off the top of your head, Director. You should know that
I have so
like
much going
clockwork.
on in my head at this point, Senator. I'm just trying to stay focused with this, with everything else that I have going on.
Okay.
You have to speak into the mic, okay? The
Yes.
media is saying
So
that they can't hear
the
you.
strategy. Currently, one of our biggest problems within this is
1 minute.
one, operators who have passed on and their loved ones did not know business licenses are supposed to be paid, or they're supposed to return their license plates, etc. So it is the ability to communicate and have that information out there where they can go and be aware as to what is happening, whether they are in tune with it or not. Even medallion owners who have it just sitting there and don't recognize that even though it's not in use,
30 seconds.
you should pay your business license every year. Failure to do that will result in penalties occurred.
Okay, let me ask you before my time is
So a web-based system with a dedicated line with
business license. Do you have a record of how many people applied for business license and how many of those individuals were approved? Do you have a number?
No, I don't have a number, but a business license, one gets a business license as a medallion owner, or if that licensed taxi operator is leasing from the medallion owner.
Correct. So it'll be good to have those numbers too also.
And that's
So-
why I'm trying to get all that
Okay,
information
so through the chair,
help
you can-
to build the database that would allow us to see
Okay,
that.
through the chair, you can provide that information too. Okay, and thank you so much for your responses. Madam Chair, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, Senator Blayden. I'm going to go to the next senator until I catch my bearings here. Senator Fonseca, you're recognized for your 5 minutes.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so kindly, Madam Chair, and a pleasant good morning to all the listening audience. Welcome, Ms. Vernice Gomes from the Taxi Cab Commission. We give thanks and praises to the Most High. Blessings. Ms. Gomes, right? I'm going to go to your testimony right here on page 12, on the last paragraph here. And you're saying here the ability to innovate and adapt has become a crucial factor in navigating these challenges successfully. The ability to innovate and adapt. You know, I am in 100% in support of the taxi drivers. You know, this is a local business. We got to make sure that this business continues to thrive. I support the taxi drivers, and I want to make that clear. But I want to ask you a question. Do you think the taxi drivers and the ride sharing can coexist?
I do believe that they can coexist if, in fact, rules and regulations are established ahead of time so everyone would know what their role is and what is expected of them. To have them coexisting without having any rules and regs in place would just provide chaos.
Okay, because, you know, we support our taxi drivers. We want that business to thrive. That's how a lot of, you know, our family and friends, you know, have fed their family and, you know, been able to accomplish what they have accomplished. But remember the thing now that we call the dollar ride. You know, the dollar ride appeared and it's here to stay. Now, you know, we got to look at, like you said in your testimony, the ability to innovate and adapt. This is your words, has become a crucial factor in navigating these challenges successfully. So you got to look at what's happening in the industry. Okay, so good. Let me go here now to your digital in other services, right? The total is 528,286. You want to get 479,486. You want to be able to store, collect, verify records. And that's very important because I just asked you a question about how much business licenses, how much leases you have and how many operators you have. And you said you could not get your hand on that information. Because, see, you are showing here that there's a total collections of $345,651.17. However, they have on page 11, you have 1,964 medallions. And the fee per medallion is $130, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So if you multiply 1,964 by the 130, you get 255,320. That is your fees for all your taxi medallions. But you have deposited 345,651. So you have deposited about $90,000 more than the fees for all the medallions. So the difference in that is the leases and the operators. Is that correct?
Correct. Would be the other services,
Okay.
tariffs and such.
Okay. You have leases and operators, and then you have other services.
Yes.
What are the other services?
So the other services would be what you call it? The other services are your certificates of entitlements
And penalties.
and penalties.
Okay, good.
Well, penalties is by itself.
Okay, so through the chair.
1 minute.
Through the chair, I need you to provide, through the chair, the total number of leases. You said the leases are $75 per lease, right?
Yes, but that
Oh.
varies depending because you have some who have.
No, I just
leases
need
for
the
3
total
years.
number
Okay.
of leases. And then I also need the total number of operators, because you said it's $45 per operator.
Correct.
Okay, good. So that's a request through the chair. So now, how do you plan if you
30 seconds.
if you get this 479,486 for your digitalization? How are you going to implement it? Do you have the staffing on board? It's going to be 100% contractual outside. How are you going to implement that?
At least for the first year, it would be contracted.
You're contracted out. Do you have a
Correct.
firm? You've received.
Time.
Well,
You've received
la-
bids. Madam Chair, can I finish up? Thank you, Madam Chair. Are you in the process of receiving bids? You have a request for proposal prepared. You have an RFQ, a request for quotation. Where are you now?
So if in FY23, the board met, we went through the process. We had, I think there were 2 vendors, and from that, they selected a vendor. A vendor was selected. But because of funding, it was placed on hold.
Okay, so you never received that appropriation.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Fonseca. So you are aware that the Taxi Cab Commission is a self-sustaining entity.
Yes.
And the legislature only started to provide funding to this entity, I would say within the past, since about 5 years. About 5 years. Because there was a project, there were some vehicles or something that was to be purchased to assist the taxi commission, but it was never the intent to continue to fund this without ensuring that the revenues were being collected. So my question is, have you true up the revenues for fiscal year 2023?
Have I chew it up, you said?
Yeah, have you true up the revenues for 23?
When you say chew.
TRUE up, true up the revenues?
Oh,
Yeah. Sorry about that.
yeah, print out with some information on it.
What is the total revenues collected in 2024?
1 second.
23.
I had a printout with that. Let me see if I could get it here in my phone. So in 2023, we had $306,326.70.
306.
326
Okay.
and 70
And 70?
cents.
70 cents. Okay. I want to go back to this 300,000 you projected. What are you doing differently that will cause you to believe that you are going to generate another $300,000 when in 23, you only generated 306, 326.70?
Well, with the anticipation of being able to be able to go through all of our medallions that are out there to determine active and non-active and to reach out to those persons, because a lot of them do not know that they, even though it may be inactive, they're not using it, that they need to pay their money.
Okay, so let me ask this another way. How many medallions we have issued in the Virgin Islands?
Territorially, I have approximate, well, I shouldn't say approximately, 1,964.
1964.
Yes.
Okay, so you have 1964 medallions. 1,964. 1,964 times 130. If everybody was to pay, all you're going to generate is 255,320 on time, right? And then you have the leases, which we're still trying to get from you what that number is. And you said you don't have that number. That's correct?
Correct.
So I'm still at a loss with regards to your $300,000 projection. Is it that you're collecting back money? Is it that when they pay, if they haven't renewed their license, they have to pay it forward? They have
Yes.
to bring forward
Yes.
all the years that they haven't paid?
Yes, Senator.
And is there an opportunity for, but you don't even have information around how many licenses fall in that category, correct? Or do
That's
you?
correct, Senator.
Okay, so what is it that you all have been doing within the past year and a half with collecting and compiling the data to at least look at a category? Because it doesn't seem like you have any sense of any category.
So outside of what the categories that we're inputted into the ERP system, there is really and truly no other mechanism in place to track the categories.
Okay, but you put it in the ERP, so you have that.
So you have that. And again, with a number of our challenges, we are behind in our postings to track.
Yeah, it just seems like you're, how many people you have on board?
I have one admin staffer in St. Thomas, one admin staffer in St. Croix, and two enforcement officers.
So you have two admins and yourself. So what
That's
does a day look like for you?
So a day would look like for me is being out there collecting alongside with the admin person, seeing customers as they come in requesting information or needing assistance with, responding to the IG office, who we have the auditors that are physically sitting in our office, sitting with them, responding to DOJ, who are doing investigations for our office. So it varies, responding to the different agencies in trying to see what kind of help we can get. But most importantly, a day at times could be we just can't get anything done because of the fluctuations in our services in the office.
What do you mean
So-
fluctuation in services?
So let's take this week as an example. And luckily for me, BIT was right there assisting with something else. And I'm cashiering, and I'm running through the machine because we have internet services, and nothing is happening. It's not connecting. And the technician came, checked everything while the internet is up, and nothing is happening. You run in the card, nothing is happening. So they were able to witness what I was saying firsthand because they could not understand. How can you be there and this is not happening?
So your admins don't do the cashiering?
Yes, but my admin person has been out sick and is still out sick for
Okay, so, and
Past
that's
2
on
weeks.
which island? St. Thomas?
St. Thomas.
So how long has your admin person been out?
She's been out, this is about 2 weeks now.
All right. Senator Noel Francis Jr., recognized for your 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Good morning to you, my colleagues. Good morning to staff. Good morning to Ms. Executive Director Gums. paid out in stipends to board members?
Since I have been on board, I have not paid out any stipend to any board member.
How much is owed to board members for stipends?
I don't have that information as to how much is owed for board members, Senator, but I
Time.
can get back that information
Is board members owed stipend?
I do believe that they are owed stipends for during the first year when I was there, and they had some meetings in between. And I know some of them were submitted.
Okay. And if I may just close off real quickly, Madam Chair, I heard my time call. How are you receiving payments? Do you have a telecheck machine? If people are required to pay by cash, check, money order, how are you receiving payments?
So we don't have a telecheck machine, but we do accept credit card payments, we do accept checks, and we do accept cash.
Thank you very much. My time has been called, and I'll ask some additional questions in the next rounds if we have one. Thank you very much, Madam Chair, for the time.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Javon James, you recognize for your 5 minutes. One second. We're understanding that we need to shut down. Oh, Senator James is here. Okay. We're getting information externally that they're unable to hear what we're saying on the Senate floor. So we're going to take a quick recess to regroup ourselves to check what's happening on our media end. The committee stands in recess. Committee is out of recess. Hopefully the community can hear our meeting now, and it has improved. Senator Diane Capehart, you're recognized for your 5 minutes.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning to the people of the Virgin Islands. Good morning, Ms. Gumbs.
Good morning, Senator.
I have a few questions for you, and the testimony that you provided to us today. I'm happy to see that you are working on your electronic management system. In the world that we live in, we have to be concerned once you're collecting information that there's confidentiality and integrity in your system. You mentioned that you need $4,779, $486.35. How did you come up with that amount? How did you come up with that quote?
In FY 2023, there was a bid that took place between, we had two vendors. And the vendor that was selected by the board provided that quote.
Did you go through the process follow the process of property and procurement to send out that bid? All of that process you went through
No,
to come
Senator.
to this
No.
quote?
My understanding was that as a semi-autonomous agency, the TCC did not need to go through that process.
So you followed your own internal processes.
Correct.
Okay. Is it a taxi software that you're going to be using?
For the most part, yes. It would be streamlined to our needs.
You mentioned that the board met and continues to work on revisions, but you said that you have 7 individuals on the board, but it's a board of 9. Do you have a quorum to vote on matters?
There generally is a quorum. Now, when it comes time to voting, is there always a quorum? For most meetings that I have been to, there have not.
Ms. Gomes, you're confusing me because it's either you have a quorum, how legal is your vote when you vote? Because you have 9. What is the number for you to have a quorum?
So currently, there's only 7 members on the board. So you would need a quorum of 5. When meetings do begin, you have 5 members present. There are times when 1 or 2 persons may drop off if a vote have to take place before the vote can take place. So the quorum would then be broken.
What are you doing to fill, are you having a conversation asking the governor that you need to fill these positions for the board so he can send their names down to the legislature? Because I keep hearing that there's you only have this amount of individuals on your board. Then you see that you have all these vacant positions. You have some very major positions to be filled. What are you doing to fill these positions?
Well, we need funding in order to fill those positions. Until we can identify funding, then we would be unable to fill those positions.
You have 2 inspectors on St. Croix. Is that enough or you need more?
We would need more, but at least to get us started and to help us start generating revenues, it would help. Currently, we have no officers on St. Croix.
Currently, you have no officers on St. Croix?
That's correct, Senator.
So does anybody from St. Thomas come over to St. Croix to do inspections? You
No,
have
Sen-
inspectors on St. Thomas, I should ask.
We have 2 on St. Thomas. 1 is currently out on leave. So we're just 1 inspector at this time.
Miss, do you think that the taxi industry on St. Croix is dying? Yes or no?
It is
And what
not
are you
as
doing
robust as it should be.
And what are you doing to help this industry? Because when I look at the deposits of St. Croix and St. Thomas, there's a big difference. $55,000 for St. Croix, $290,000 on St. Thomas, St. John. That's why I ask you, do you think this industry is dying on St. Croix? And what are you doing for the people, like taxi men and women on St. Croix, to make sure that this industry doesn't die?
So St. Croix is a big difference because of the number of taxi operators, licensed taxi operators that we have currently in St. Croix. And after there were a hiatus in the cruise ships going to St. Croix, you did not have as many taxi operators out there aggressively pursuing taxiing. However, within the last 2 years, when the cruise ship industry started to pick up, you have more operators now that are coming back out and more of them trying to get into the class.
Let's talk, you just mentioned into the class. What kind of training? Do you offer training to these taxi men and women for them to be equipped when they do pick up passengers, that they are able to, talk about the islands and sell the islands and have correct information?
Yes, so that's where we are trying to resume those classes. However, the key is to get the rules and regulations so that they would know what it is, what is expected of them while they're out there. The classes will be offered to the University of the Virgin Islands CEL program.
Would there be a charge to the taxi men and women?
Well, with the partnership of the Department of Tourism, for the first class that they take, if they successfully pass it, it would be paid through the Department of Tourism. However, for each time after that, if they fail, they would be responsible for paying to retake that class.
Okay. You mentioned on your last page that besides hurricane, COVID, that you also experience environmental issues. What are those?
The mold issues in the building, where we had to be shuttered for a couple of months.
You mentioned also that you are partnering with the Department of Labor for a summer youth program to get 4 summer interns to put medallion owners and lessees' raw data into an Excel spreadsheet. How many of these inputs do you need to put in? Because summer is almost over, and I'm thinking, are you still waiting for summer students? Are you going to partner with Department of Labor to get individuals to come in and do data entry? Because you don't have to really be a rocket scientist to put data into a computer. So it's good that you were trying to partner with labor, but summer is almost over. So how many of these inputs, and would you continue to work with Department of Labor to get someone to assist you? Because that's important.
Yes, Senator. So we have 2 students that have already started. from the
Can
Department
you
of
give me a number
Labor.
of how many of these inputs you have?
So we have 3, 4 huge books. I can't tell you exactly how much operators are in those books. But we have the
And how-
old ledger books, the really old big books that we're using to compile the data from.
And this data that you're trying to compile is the same data that would be protected with your data protection that you're trying to pay $400 and something thousand.
Yes, Senator.
Madam Chair, thank you. This concludes my questioning.
Thank you, Senator. Keep heart. I feel your pain. Senator Potter, you recognize for your 5 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Am I being heard? Thank you. Oh. Am I right? Thank you. Thank you very much. Hear me? Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Good morning, colleagues. Special good morning to Ms. Gums of the Virgin Islands Taxi Cab Commission. I know that the Taxi Cab Commission, relatively speaking, when you look at the other agencies in the government of the Virgin Islands, it's a relatively small agency. But I really believe in the overall importance of this critical agency. The Taxi Cab Commission packs a real powerful punch. And I say that because as a tourist-based economy, the availability and accessibility of high-quality taxi service is critical as far as an economic driver in our territory, for sure. And we know just the whole image and reputation of a community is tied to the quality of a tourist destination, is tied to the quality of our taxi cab industry. And that's here, that's in St. Martin, that's in New York City. You remember the quality and caliber of the taxi service that you experience in a destination. I'm saying all of that to say that we really need to get it right in terms of providing or putting the VI Taxi Cab Commission on a success trajectory in terms of adequate funding, in terms of adequate staffing, in terms of adequate leadership for the organization. I think it is critical. Ms. Gums, does the commission, and I don't know if you answered this before, does the commission have a standing quorum?
And as I said,
In terms of the numbers?
said earlier, Senator, they would start out at most of the meetings that I have attended with a quorum.
Okay.
However, somewhere along the line, in instances, more specifically, when a vote is supposed to take place, that quorum will be broken.
Okay. So there are a number of persons, an adequate number of persons who are appointed to make a quorum.
That's correct.
But whether or not it's a functioning, effective organization, that's another thing.
Correct.
That's what you're saying. Is the governor aware of that, of the struggles and the challenges you may be having to have a reliable and regular quorum for this critical agency?
Yes, the governor is aware. As a matter of fact, we were poised to meet and everything was in place last Monday However, due to an unforeseen circumstance, the governor had to cancel to reschedule.
Okay. So he's going to personally get involved and engaged.
Correct,
in
Senator.
this. Okay. Excellent. How many taxi drivers, I don't know if you mentioned it before, how many taxi drivers do we have in each island?
I could tell you based on.
Oh, active
And
taxi.
I cannot give you a specific number with, any number with how many are active or inactive because we do not have any tracking mechanism in place that would
Okay.
allow us to
How many
identify
license?
that.
How many license?
It's the same
Still
thing.
same thing. I know, and someone spoke about rules and regs before. I know that last time we spoke, the ability to complete the rules and regs was an impediment to us having persons, I guess, receive their taxi license.
Not for them, well, for the class to take place.
Yeah. And the class is directly tied to them getting the license.
Yes,
right?
because if you're taking the class, they would need to know what is expected of them
Right.
as an operator coming out to work in the industry.
What do you see as a time frame for us getting that rules and regs completed? And is that tied to staffing or explain to me?
That would be tied to us, myself and the board getting together because I have, in fact, submitted the draft of what I did to the board. We've since met and did not even get halfway through it.
Yeah.
So it's about, getting everyone together to set aside that time and dedicate
Yeah.
the time that is necessary to ensure it can get.
And I'm asking you because it is such a critical thing. I know of two individuals who are trying to get their license going, very eager, very anxious, very enthusiastic, and they are just at a standstill because of the inability to us, Madam Chair, if I may just conclude, the inability to us getting this train rolling as far as getting the rules and regs done so that the UVI cell class can be functioning. So it seems like we are at a standstill. And it's really frustrating he's calling me. Senator Potter, what are you doing? Why we can't get this thing rolling? What am I going to do? And thinking about leaving the territory because there is no estimated time frame that can be offered to him as to when this process will be completed. And I mean, can you appreciate his frustration?
I certainly
that?
Can because again, it's time consuming and you have to put the time in
To do quality,
to do a quality or to
document.
produce a quality product so that you would not, and it should envision, it should be very much futuristic and not just say, oh, today, and then we have to go back because, lack of foresight, we did not include
Yeah.
all the other things that are on the horizon
Yeah.
that would have an impact in the industry or that is already out there that we are seeing in other cities and countries.
Yeah. I think that, Ms. Gomes, I think that this industry is too critical an industry for us to be at this standstill. I'm not blaming you. I'm blaming all of us. There must be a way for us to fix this industry so that we can begin to make some meaningful progress. Because we are at a standstill and I'm having some challenges finding, whether my mind works, you want to see, okay, this is a pathway to us making some progress and being successful. And every step of the way, it seems as though there are barriers to us moving forward. Singing, Madam Chair. But what is your biggest, just in conclusion, what is your biggest concern, your biggest frustration, the issue that if we could get beyond would make you feel as though we are making some gains in this industry?
So it's twofold, like you just elaborated on ensuring we can get the rules and regs up so that we can get these classes going. And, again, to be able to meet the needs of those eager applicants who want to get out there, and you have those more senior operators who want to retire, but because no replacement is out there, they continue to push forward. And staffing. You can't do anything, something like this after almost 4 decades, and I still can't come before you and give the necessary information because of no tracking mechanisms that were set in place. It's very frustrating.
Do you need to contract out that task of getting that rules and regs done? Maybe contracting out to an entity and giving a specific time frame for it to be done? Because it seems as though substantial work has been put into it already, so they may not be starting from scratch.
Correct.
Isn't that maybe a strategy that we can utilize?
Yes, so that is a strategy that I have been, again, this week here, meeting with BIT, and they're physically coming now into the office on, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday of the upcoming week to see how we can, start doing just this with what resources that we have, and seeing how and where we can get additional resources until such time as we can get funding to digitize the entire office.
Thank you very much, Executive Director Gums. Thank you, Madam Chair, for your leniency.
Thank you, Senator Potter. Director Gums, you continue to say that you're unable to collect information because you need a system. And I have to differ with you. The previous speaker asked you about active and inactive licenses. And you have been there for 2 years, right?
Yes, Senator.
So if you've been there for 2 years, there are people that are coming in to pay their registration, correct?
Correct.
So don't you keep data on the people who are updated with paying their registration?
I have a running tab, yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so then
But it's
answer
not-
No, let me finish. So then if you have that, then you share with us that to date, you share with us that you have $345,000 that you've collected. That has to be inclusive of active individuals. You've been there last year. There were people that paid last year. You should be able to compile that information. You're talking about 1,900 individuals, and you are basically hung up on this database that you need to have electronically, when internally you can begin to collect that information. When I look at economies of scale, you are talking about us, the government of the Virgin Islands, investing $500,000 in a system to collect information around 1,900 people. Make that make sense for me. There is a way for us to collect that data internally in your office. If you need assistance, then we need to seek out the assistance from the individuals in this government or the entities in this government who can assist you or bring someone on to help you to put that database together. But to be hung up on this $500,000 project, it does not bode well. It doesn't add up. 2,000, under 2,000 taxi drivers. Not drivers, 2,000 medallions. And we need a $500,000 database. Think about it. So you keep touting it and talking about it. But at some point, you have to come to the self-realization that you have to begin to collect the information. So when the senator asked you about the active, at minimum, you should have been able to give him the active from the time you were there, who's renewed their license since you were there. You just tell him, no, you don't have it.
So, Senator, to your point, I have been reaching out, and that's why I can say today that come next week with BIT, that's why I can say that I have interns from the department or through the Department of Labor to assist me in ensuring that I can have
But
this.
how you assisting yourself?
How am I
Yes.
assisting myself? Like, again, I would, for each business license or lease or whatever, and yes, I should have taken some time out and compiled each one individually to do the comparison. But it's very challenging on a daily basis, being out there among the employee, doing and making sure that we could attend to the customers. I have been displaced out of my office now for some time due to a leak. So I am moving around. It's like, it's so much that is going on, Senator. It may sound as easy saying it, but it's a lot more to it to be physically there and see actually what is taking place.
I'm just saying, so you collect my money, you write my name on a paper. Even if you don't want to use a computer, you collect the money, you write the names on a paper and say, these are the people who have paid this year. Is that dying hard?
And that's what I have been doing. And,
So
and that's
then
what I
how
just
many-
acknowledged that I did not take, I should have taken it out and separated by the variant categories to have it with me today.
So
Which
you
I did not.
So
I can provide that.
the amount of times
to
that you have come here before us, and we've had this very same conversation over and over, you did not walk away from the discussion recognizing that at minimum you not needed to start collecting that information, because at some point you would have to come back to the institution, to the legislature, for a budget review to have this discussion. Senator Maurice James, you're recognized for your 5 minutes. Senator Joseph, you're recognized for your 5 minutes.
A pleasant good morning once again.
Forget you.
I just wanted to, first of all, Ms. Gums, I've listened to the conversation thus far, and I am a bit concerned about where we are looking to go fiscally with the Taxi Cab Commission, knowing it is the only industry that is run primarily and owned primarily by local Virgin Islanders. And so I do have some major concerns. I want to ask you, because it was mentioned earlier, that you have a total of 5 employees, including yourself.
That's correct, Senator.
Has there been any employee that has resigned or retired from the Taxi Cab Commission within this fiscal year, the 2024 fiscal year?
No, Senator.
Okay. Now, you mentioned the amount of vacancies that you have. I'm looking at, this would be page 10 of your testimony. And you have some new positions. You have positions classified employees. You have it, the amount is $167,234. Now, does this include the fringe benefit? Do you have a breakout, including the actual salary and the fringe? Because this is just one lumped money.
For the retiree?
No. I'm talking about page 10. Follow me. Personnel services, new positions. This would be your second table here on this page. Do you have this broken out for us?
So
you have just classified
page-
employee, and how much is each employee paid, and what is their fringe?
If I have it. Let me see if I have it. Work it out.
You're asking for this money, so we just need to get some details. And the same will go also for the unclassified employee salaries. You have that as $183,000. How much are you setting for the employee position? How much are you going to pay them? And what are their fringe? And specifically, what marry the the salary and fringe to the positions so that we could have a clear understanding.
Let me see if
So
I
we
can-
need a breakdown. And these are for the new positions.
Oh, for the new positions, I don't have it broken out by, with the fringe. I can tell you what the salaries
Okay.
would be.
Yeah, well, share with us what the salaries would be, because you mentioned you have some positions that you want to fill. Like you have here 5 positions are filled. Let me see. 6 positions are vacant.
Yes,
Okay,
so,
and so what I
for the-
just need it to be a little bit clearer, especially where you have your inspectors, your enforcement officers, and your taxi inspectors. Those are the positions I'm really looking at, and how much you are projecting to pay them, and are you projecting a whole 100% for the fiscal year 2025, or you're looking at filling them 50%, because you may get them filled with by the half year of the fiscal year. So do you have that information?
so for the assistant executive director, 65.
Okay. I really don't think that you need an assistant director. That's just my position based on your workload. I think the person who is the executive director could carry both Island District based on the workload, because St. Croix doesn't have a lot, but you definitely need the inspectors and the enforcement officers, because in the town hall meeting in St. Croix District, the taxi operators stressed about a lot of illegal taxi operators move it into their territory. So that's some of the things I think need to be looked at on the front end and have prioritized. So tell me what you have for your taxi inspectors and taxi enforcement officers.
So
how
that
many
would-
how many positions would the enforcement you plan to fill?
3, 2 for St. Croix and 1 for St. Thomas St. John. And that would be at $44,413.91.
44,000 for, okay, and 2 for St. Croix and 1 for St. And how much would that bring you for the St. Thomas St. John district? Because when the committee that I chair, we had the town hall meetings in St. John, that was also a major contention, that there wasn't enforcement, and also our brothers and sisters from St. John had to travel here to St. Thomas to get their licenses, renewal, all of their work. And I thought that was very much a hardship on them, because now they have to pay to come down here to get services.
So that would bring it to a total of 3 for the St. Thomas St. John.
Okay. And how many office staff do you have assigned to St. John, and how often do you go there? I know that's operational, but it plays into your budget, because if you have to have staff travel from St. Thomas to St. John, how often do you do that?
So when we had additional staff, when we had the admin SAC, we used to try to go to St. John at least once every other month.
Once every other month. You think that's sufficient?
No, it's not.
Do you have the number of taxi drivers in St. John that you provide services to? Taxi operators?
I don't have the amount other than the medallion owners. But operators would be, because you have the leases are not involved.
Okay.
In that.
I know my time has been called. I just wanted to also get from you the cost for the enforcement officers, their fringe benefits. Have you pulled that out too? Because you gave me their salary, but I don't have a fringe benefit. So I'm going to ask you to provide that information through the chair. We need to get those critical, because lack of enforcement is a major issue that we have here in the Virgin Islands, and our enforcement officers need as much enforcement officers as we can. So if you could provide that to the chair. Thank you so much, Madam Chair, for the leeway.
Thank you, Senator Joseph. Did you provide me with your FY23 collections was 306? Do you have a breakdown between your collections and your collections and what was collected and the different categories of the collections? You said no, correct?
For 23?
So are you collecting the categories as we speak, this year?
So for 23, I have the breakout in terms of the commercial licenses, how much was paid for the lease, the penalty fines, and the like.
So you're collecting that for 24, similarly so?
Yes.
So how much, based on what you've collected for FY24, what's the breakout? You said you collected 345 thus far, right? 3, 4, 5, 345,000, right?
Yes.
So you have a breakout of how the categories those funds are collected for?
Breakout with me.
While you're at it, when was the last time there was a class?
The last time was in 22, the last class.
When did you
I
say?
think it was March 22 or May 22.
So the year is 2022.
Yes, correct.
And we have folks waiting who are interested in joining the industry. And what type of conversation are you having with the board with regards to the amount of interest that you're seeing? Because one of my colleagues asked about it being a dying industry. But it seems like what's happening at the commission is contributing to the dying industry in St. Croix, because if we haven't had a class since 2022, then how are we going to get individuals in the pool?
And
So what we're saying that tourism is our main, is what, it's not what we're saying. Tourism is what drives the revenues that we have here in the territory for the most part. Okay? That's our major economic driver as we speak. So if that's our major economic driver, how is it that the last time we had a class was 2022. What are your board members saying about this? Because if we are unable to get individuals into the industry, then what are we saying?
So I can't speak on behalf of the board to respond to that, but I can tell you what I did is I make certain that I dedicated as much of my time as I possibly could to ensure I could put rules and regs in place so that collectively we could meet, review, and put it through the channel so that we can get these classes on board.
Okay. Did you get the number for the 340, the breakout of the 345?
So for up until June, I don't have the breakout with me. I just have up until January, would be the second quarter.
Just send it back to the chair.
Break it. I'll
Send it back through the chair. Send it back to the committee. Senator DeGraff, you recognize you have 5 minutes.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, testifier, all viewing, listening, and present. Director, welcome. Bill number 35-0230, the bill for the 27-passenger safari is now law signed into law by the governor. Is now Act 8845. Okay, so bringing it to your attention. I'll make sure I get you a copy before you leave. So
I did
you have it?
get a
Okay,
copy.
great.
Thank you,
great.
Senator.
Thank you. Okay, you know, the 24 budget as it stands right now, you have been, do you have a financial person?
I don't, Senator.
You don't. Okay, so you have been receiving the allotments to disperse for the 24 budget thus far.
Correct, Senator.
Okay, so and everyone has been paid, and supplies have been addressed, and utilities and everything have been given you all your. So to date, what is your expenditure that you have received thus far for your 24 budget? You have that information with you? 'Cause I heard you say you had it, so that's all. You have those numbers? Or as of the latest June, March?
For expenditures,
Correct. What allotment you have received thus far for these 3 quarters? Personnel, fringe, supplies. Because in your testimony, you have your budget overview broken down by personnel, fringe, vacancies, supplies, other services that you are requesting for 25.
so as of June
June?
2024, in total fringe benefits, we have 90.
No, do personnel first. Personnel, fringe.
$167,027.17
167.
and $27.17.
Okay, 17 cents. Okay, a personal fringe.
$90,541.42.
Okay, and this is 24. Okay, supplies.
We don't have any expenditures for supplies, Senator.
No, so how have you been?
Only personnel, salary.
Okay, so only personnel and fringe you got.
That's correct.
Okay, so you are saying now for your supplies that you're requesting $5,200 for 25 budget
Yes.
for supplies.
Correct.
What does $5,200 cover for the territory?
So it would cover toners, copy
Okay,
and
so then what you could do is the breakdown for your supplies, the breakdown for your other services and charges. Could you submit that now to? Okay, so we have that. Okay, so now you are asking 1,555,707.93.
That's correct, Senator.
Right. So it's if you don't get a financial person between now and your 25 budget, means you're the person that has to control, collect, expend all of these. That's what you are intending to be, that person to take care of all of that right now. Can you handle that? That 1 million I give you, if I take and I give you that 1,555,707.93, I give it to you to get this industry moving, to get the organization moving. You don't have all the personnel you need. What does it do for the territory giving you this money? Because now you become that person who have to deal with supplies. You have to pick up, you have to expend the money to pick up supplies. You have to store it. You have to do all of that. Yeah. Can you handle this?
Yes, Senator.
Okay. So in you handling it from the 24 budget, in 2023, was the GS employees' wage increases? Were any GS employees ever paid their wage increases in 23?
Yes, Senator.
All of them were paid?
Yes, Senator.
Okay, 'cause I was told they weren't. Okay, so then in your 25 budget, are they budgeted for the 25 increase?
Yes, Senator.
Okay. Okay, I'll check on that to make sure. Now, in regards to your business licenses, you have medallions, owners also end in, let's say we take a number, for instance, a month, third month. If they don't pay their business license fee by February, they get penalized? Is that so?
Yes, Senator.
What is the penalty?
$50 per month.
Okay, so if I end in the month 3 and I come to pay in 3, I'm already in the hole for $50.
Providing you have your plates. If the plates are in-house, then it would be $13 per month. So in other words, if the plates aren't active and we have them for safekeeping in-house, you'll be paying $13 per month for each month that is late. However, if the plates are in the operator's possession, whether active or inactive, we won't know because they have the plates. It would be $50 per month for each month they're late.
Right, so it just doesn't make sense that if I come to pay in the third month, I come to pay my fee already in the whole $50 because I was supposed to pay by so is that a part of your rules or regulations, or that's law, or what is that? Is that a part of the rules and regulations?
Well, I didn't see it in the rules and regs that I have been working on, but I came and meet it as part of the day-to-day policy and procedures.
So you think that's fair, though? I mean,
It's not from what I think, Senators. A lot of things I
but
isn't.
okay. So just in closing, I'm saying my car has to be registered in the 10th month. I go in the 10th month and I register my vehicle. My driver's license is due in the 25th, 25. I go and I register and I pay no late fees. But I have a taxi medallion and I go to pay in the third month because it's due in the third month, but I'm already in the whole $50.
So I have been in conversation with Director McIntosh because this is in fact causing, according to the director, some challenges and their system.
No,
Meaning that if it ends in a particular...
excuse me, just 1 second. I didn't ask Madam Chair if I could just conclude. Madam Chair, could conclude? Okay, so I just wanted to be on the right side. Okay, so it really doesn't have to do with Director McIntosh. She is over of motor vehicles. But I'm talking about the taxi owners, medallion owners, end in the third month. If they come the third month, I'm not saying they come in the fourth or the fifth month. Fine. They come in the third month when they are due. They come in their due month. They're already penalized $50. But it's not in your rules and regulations. It's something you came and met. I think that's something you could fix.
So, and that's what I was alluding to, not only fixing, but it also creates a challenge with the BMV system that they uses.
But it affects your system for accounting. Because when you look at a third month and you see
Correct.
This person have all these, so that's what I'm saying, fix that. You don't need anything else to fix that. So then now everybody coming in, they're gonna be flooding you on the month they do because hey, now they know, okay, I ain't gonna be $50 in the hole. I'm gonna come right now, I'm gonna pay on time, pay you able to be on top of that. Fix that at least for us if you can. Thank you for the time, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator DeGraff. Colleagues, I don't know if anybody has a burning question that they wish to ask, but we're about to wrap up this discussion with the Virgin Islands Taxi Cab Commission. One of the things that I need to get from you, from the Taxi Cab Commission, is the revenues that they've collected. The funds that's collected goes into what account?
The taxi fund account.
Okay, the taxi fund account. And who's managing that account?
Department of Finance.
Yeah, but you have to be managing when you post, right?
Yes.
So we need to get the general ledger accounting of that fund for the past 5 years. So 2024 to prior.
So I did send you that information, Senator, back in April.
Okay, you sent it to us in April?
And I did verify with Ms. Russell that she was in receipt of.
Understood. Based on, you have the report with you? Do you have it on you?
I just have my summary of, but I don't have the general ledger portion of it itself, the printout of the general ledger.
Okay. So based on the information that was shared with you from the general ledger report and the discussions that we had previously, do you have any information around what was collected in 2020? You gave us 23, 306, 326. What about 2022? Since you say you have a summary.
22 was 374,578.
22, 21.
453,538 and 50 cents.
453, 538.
And 50 cents.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 20.
458,592.
You have 19?
No, I don't.
Okay. So we started to see the falling off of the medallions, well, not the medallion, of the revenues rather, in 2022. And since then, the numbers have been going south. 22 was 374, 23 was 70, almost 70-something thousand dollars less. And 22, give me that number for 22. Oh, no. 22?
374,
374.
578.
And then 24. We're now
24,
at,
I only have up until January, and that was 63, 654.
okay, so 24. So you
But up to now,
go ahead.
print out.
So 24, your number was 345.
245, that's correct.
2 or 3?
It's 3,
345, right?
yes.
Okay. So we should anticipate seeing some additional revenues. So based on this number, it appears as if you're on a trajectory to come closer to the 2021 numbers, to the 4 and change, not the 6 that you shared.
Yes.
Okay? All right.
Point of information.
I was going
burning
to
question.
allow a burning question. 1 second. Just trying to wrap this up. Okay. Senator Blyden, you have a burning question?
I'll ask one. Yes. Director, you stated earlier that the board is reviewing the regulations that you submitted. So when were those regulations submitted to the board?
I would have to look back on my email to see exactly when I submitted, but I know we met last month, which is June month.
And was legal counsel involved in the preparation and review of the draft regulations?
Legal counsel was not. It was just the board members. Well, not all 7.
And
I think it was 5 board members and myself.
And were there anything in those regulations regarding taxis and or safaris, especially with the new act that was just implemented?
This was before the new act was implemented, so that would have to, but there is information in there pertaining to.
And did you have a quorum?
If we had a quorum?
Yes.
If my recollection served me correctly, yes. But we did not get through it in its entirety
So you only met once when it came to those draft regulations? You only met
so
once?
far.
Very well. We'll have further discussions. Thank you so much, Madam Chair, for the time.
Thank you, Senator Blyden. Senator Fonseca.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Gomes, one quick question about the taxi vans with the 27 passenger vans. Explain to me the process, how you're ensuring now that their road safety is in full compliance and that those vans are now safe, being the recent laws that have been acted upon. How are you enforcing and ensuring, rather, that those vans are safe to be operated on the road?
So we're not talking vans, we're talking about the open-air vehicles, the safaris?
The safaris, yeah.
Okay, so what happens here is they have a form that they would take to, we have 2 certified welders on St. Thomas. And they would go to the welder once, they come to the Taxi Cab Commission to express their intent to increase their capacity or to build a new one. It could be within the 20 or less. And they will be given this form to take to the welder to certify the work on that will be done on this truck. Once that is taking place, they would return the form to the Taxi Cab Commission. We would then give them the okay to go ahead and build a truck. Once that truck is then built, they would then bring the pictures and everything back to the vehicle, with the vehicle progress, and the vehicle itself would come down, and the taxi inspector would go ahead and
Approve it?
look through the work that was done, ensuring that okay, the seats are this and no loose parts and stuff, the basic things.
Okay.
And then we would then give them the appropriate documentation to take to motor vehicle
Okay.
to register that vehicle.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to be clear on that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Fonseca. Senator Nova Francis Jr.
He's speaking, but
We're unable to hear him.
Mic check, 1, 2. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Director Gums, is the mold situation over at your building, has that been addressed?
I am still displaced in my office.
I'm sorry?
And the water leak was addressed, yes, but there are still some little other things to take place before I can move back and put my desk back in position.
Okay, and that's being handled by the building owner, or is that
Yeah.
something that is being borne by the taxi cab?
The building owner.
Okay, do you have a status on when that will be addressed?
No, I do not, but I will follow through with that.
Okay, so you're utilizing another room within the building at this time, or you have not been able to access the building as a result of not having your office?
No, I utilize another desk within the office.
Okay, and the situation with your other employee that's been out for the last 2 weeks, is that associated with mold as well?
I cannot say specifically. I know I was, she just shared that it is a medical issue that
Okay.
she has.
All right, and in regards to the digitalization, and you spoke about with the $400,000, is it your testimony that you had received bids on those and that are costs and selected the lease bidder?
It was not necessarily the least bidder, but it was the most knowledgeable bidder that it was selected on. And to that point, the other vendor have since written to the agency stating that they have closed their doors.
Okay, and how long ago was that bid? Is it still current, or you'll need to seek additional new bids to be able to accomplish the task? Because obviously cost has increased since then, correct?
Correct.
So when was this bid received?
The bid was received August, I think, 2023 or thereabout, and it was voted on by the board, I think, back in the latter part of October or early November of 23.
Okay, all right, thank you. Obviously, that's 11 months ago, so I would imagine that they'll need to review that once again. But I think before we go there, have you had any discussion with BIT or other entity that will be able to assist and support you being able to capture the information that you're seeking to capture?
Yes, I have been in communications with Director Ross and his team, and he have put together a team to come down to the office and do the physical, so that we also receive 4 donated computers from the BMV that they would come to put in place next week and get us started with how they can help and what all they can do to bridge the gap in the meantime.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator Francis Jr. I'm glad that you mentioned BIT. Not BIT, DMB, the Bureau of Motor Vehicle, because they have a system where they collect the information. So, it's time for these agencies to partner and collaborate on assisting you with getting that data dump completed. So we don't need to spend $500,000 for that, because we have systems already that collect similar type of information. So it just requires some sort of an extension. We do have the Deputy Commissioner or the Assistant Commissioner of the Department of Property and Procurement here. So we will, when we open the meeting, we're going to ask him about the situation. I think you rent from Property and Procurement, right? That's
correct.
Space that you're housed in. So we'll get a better understanding from them what's going on with that. So you say you are not physically in your office?
In my office space, I'm within TCC's office, but I'm sitting at another desk within the office.
So you are in the building?
In the building,
but not
yes.
Located in your office?
That's correct.
So what is in your office now?
So nothing right now.
Okay.
I mean, all the furniture and everything is still there, but because of a recent leak that was directly over the desk.
Okay, how recent was that?
About maybe 4 or 5 weeks, 6 at
So you
most.
moved out 5 weeks ago?
About that.
Oh, so you were not, okay, so I thought this was something ongoing from the last time. That's how it sounded when you responded.
Oh.
That
No,
you never were moved back into your office. So you were in your office, but there was a
recent
event.
leak. Mm-hmm.
I see. Okay. All right. Senator DeGraff, and then there'll be Senator Capehart.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Okay, capital outlay is problem procurement. Your vacancies that you're requesting, the five positions are filled. You have them. Your request is at 50% or 100%.
Well, I think it would be best filled at 50%, granting our challenges right now, 50%. And
So that's what you have for your vacancies? Your request?
I didn't stipulate that in my testimony.
Okay, so the money that you want for vacancy, 350,000, 235.58, that's calculated at what?
Well,
50% or 100%?
that is, I did not include the French benefits or any of that sort. I just put the raw totals for the positions.
Oh, okay. So I guess, like I said, the information being sent, that would come. Now you had where you have on the next page 11 of your testimony, where you have the deposits for St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John in regards to revenues collected. Where is that money collected? Where is that money deposited to?
In the taxi fund account.
So it's in a taxi cab fund account that you have access to, or
I don't have access to it. Department of Finance.
Okay, good. And finally, on same page 11, you have in other services and charges, you have all other, $10,500. What does all other cover?
So all other covers annual Veterans Medallion auction. So what I did is I take the minimum bid amount per island, times it by 2 for each island, and pretty much just, do the percentage of 20%, and it would bring it to roughly $19,000, a little less than $20,000. However, looking at the past 2 years that we did not have bids from each island, I just take the lower number and include it.
Okay, so the 10,500 are to purchase the medallions to be auctioned.
So, no, by law, for each medallion that is sold in each district, the Taxi Cab Commission have to give the Office of Veteran Affairs 20%.
Okay. So that's the 20% you guesstimate. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator DeGraff. Senator Capehart, your burning question?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Gumbs, have you and the board members ever tried to identify grant funding to assist with your digitizing needs?
So I have attempted to, and the issue with that became one where it needed 3 different signatures in addition to my own, and the timing to get it in on time, submitted on time.
Wow, because I know there's availability of funding to assist you through the Department of Interior, the Office of Insular Affairs. They have a capital improvement grant for financial management practices, and this would be perfect. The grant expires, but there's a deadline of September 13, 2024. You're asking close to $500,000. And with all the concerns I hear today, I asked some further questions about your internal processes. You said you don't really follow PMP's processes. I am not part of this committee, but I could not support this, because you cannot justify today sitting here before us a lot of the questions that we have, because you have issues with the board, you have issues with lack of staffing, you have issues with many things, environmental issues, and I would say you need help. And I think before you come to this body, I think you need to explore all your options as grant funding. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Capehart. Senator Joseph, you're recognized for your burning question.
Thank you so kindly, Madam Chair. I do have one burning question, Ms. Gumbs. Does the commission have any outstanding litigations against it or judgment? Anybody suing you, the commission, and you have gotten an order or a judgment in the plaintiff's?
There is one.
There's one. Okay, so you have a judgment already, or it's ongoing?
It's ongoing.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
All right, colleagues, we have exhausted our discussion. I don't think that we've exhausted our questions, but we have definitely exhausted our discussion today. I'm not leaving the conversation feeling any better than the discussion that we had the last time. There is more information as it relates to the need. But I will say that, we been discussing this vexing issue for a very long time. We're talking about additional resources, and should be told, we do have the Department of Licensing and Consumer Affairs, where we have a able staff who can assist with this work, and we need to be mindful about how we utilize our government resources in times like these, particularly since this particular commission, the Taxi Cab Commission's responsibility is responsible for generating their own revenues to cover their expenses. And in fact, the revelations that we continue to see is that it's not doing that, and the question, the ask continues to be more and more. So again, we need to, I don't know that this conversation is going to improve. We need to give serious consideration to moving the Taxi Cab Commission from placing it under the Department of Licensing and Consumer Affairs. They have the systems in place, they have the admin staff, they have all the additional staff. We will only need to get additional enforcement in order to get this work done. And while there may be political energies around this, we have to do what's best for the people of the Virgin Islands at this point, and do what's best as it relates to our ability to expend and utilize our revenues, our ability to generate and utilize our revenues. So I am prepared to do what I have to do to address this situation. I'm not going to cower away from it, because we've been at this and we've heard it, and we've heard it, and we've heard it. And, if we don't act, then it says that we too have some level of culpability in this situation that's occurring at the Taxi Cab Commission. Ms. Gums, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to close. And we will, before you close, let me just, there has been some through the chair requests. Give me 1 second. So through the chair, the question was asked for you to provide the number of leases, the number of the number of operators, the number of active medallions, the number of inactive medallions, the amount paid in board member stipends, and the amount owed to board members. The breakdown of the 345 in revenues that you've collected this fiscal year by fee category. You said that when you presented the information for the positions, you only presented the raw personnel and the fringe was not considered. So we need to get the associated fringe benefits associated with those positions. And I asked you for you said that you've already provided, so we're going to look for that one. So I'm going to pass on that one. So we will send you something in writing, but in the interim, this is the information that we need to assist us with making an informed decision. It's extremely difficult when you have a small organization like this and you're just not able to pull it together. Who's the chair of the board right now?
Well, the vice chair, Elizabeth Hanson-Watley, is acting in the interim.
So we don't have a board chair?
Correct.
Okay. All right, colleagues, we've exhausted our discussion on this Taxi Cab Commission budget hearing. So we are going to take a break so we can prepare ourselves for the two leases that's before us this afternoon. So the committee, did you give a 30-second wrap-up? Go ahead, I'm sorry. You could, 30 seconds, my bad.
So I just want to say thank you for inviting me here today. And I wish to thank all the different agencies and staff who have and continue to work with us to try to get this commission back on track. I hope that at the end, that this body would take into consideration and give us some funding so that we could continue to operate. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day. The Committee on Budget Appropriations and Finance stands in recess for 15 minutes. The committee is back on the record. Madam Clerk, can you please read the items in Block 2 into the record?
Block 2, leases. Bill number 350284, an act approving the lease agreement between the government of the Virgin Islands, acting through its Commission of the Department of Property and Procurement and Rural Enterprises, Inc., doing business as Best Car Rental, parcel number 294, Estate Content, Enide, Cruise Bay Quarter, St. John, Virgin Islands, for the continued operation of a car and Jeep rental business and for other related purposes. Invited testifier, Mr. Roosevelt David, President, Rural Enterprises Incorporated. Bill number 350294, an act approving the lease agreement between the government of the Virgin Islands and Banco Popular of Puerto Rico for a portion of lot number 48B, Norregado, King's Quarter, St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. Invited testifier, Ms. Oran C. Roebuck, Senior Vice President and District Manager, Virgin Islands District. This concludes the reading of today's agenda, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And this afternoon, we will hear two leases, Bill number 35-0284 and Bill number 35-0294, as we've heard from the clerk. And we do have the testifiers here ready to proceed. However, I'm going to ask who speaks to Bill number 35-0284.
I do.
You may proceed, Senator Francis Jr.
A flashback.
5-0284, an act approving the lease agreement between the government of the Virgin Islands, acting through its Commissioner of Department of Property and Procurement and Rural Enterprise, Inc., doing business as Best Car Rental, parcel number 294, Estate Cantan and Inai, Cruise Bay Quarter, St. John, Virgin Islands, for the continued operation of a car and Jeep rental business and for other related purposes. This proposed measure is sent down by the Governor's Office, Governor Albert Bryan Jr. The agreement is for a multiple-year lease of 20 years with an option to renew for an additional 2 10-year terms. Former Senator Roosevelt C. David, St. C. David, and his wife, Elita, have operated this business since the 1980s. As a small business owners, they have certainly encountered their share of challenges, all while providing an integral service and contributing to the territory's revenues base. This lease would allow for Rural Enterprise, Inc., doing business as Best Car Rental, to continue its operation of a car and Jeep rental service. I'm also offering Bill number 35-0294, a multi-year lease between the government of the Virgin Islands and Banco Popular de Puerto Rico. This proposed measure is being offered again by the request of Governor Albert Bryan Jr. This agreement is for a 10-year lease with the option to renew for 2 additional terms of 5 years each. This lease supports the bank's operation of the ATM machines, thereby providing easy access to cash and banking services for local and visitors alike. I ask for my colleagues' support on these 2 measures, again, adding to our economic role and moving these measures forward. Thank you very much, Madam Chair, for the opportunity and time.
Thank you, Senator Francis Jr. We do have the Assistant Commissioner, Vincent Richards of the Department of Property and Procurement, and we do have the 2 representatives for the respective leases. So I'm going to ask the testifiers to put their names and titles on the record, or their entity on the record, and then we'll proceed. We'll start with the Assistant Commissioner of the Department of Property and Procurement, and then to my right, your left, and then we'll move over to the other side. Mr. Richards?
Good morning, Vincent Richards, Assistant Commissioner of the Department of Property and Procurement.
I'm Roosevelt David, President of Roll Enterprises, Inc.
Tiffany M. Gums, Vice President and Manager of Banco Popular, Virgin Islands Region.
All right, and you are all prepared to testify on your respective
Yes,
lease requests, correct?
I am.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Richards, you will go first. You may proceed with your testimony.
Good morning, Chair Donna A. Fred Gregory, Vice Chair Novelli Francis Jr., committee members, the Honorable Senators Blyden, Calderon, DeGraff, Fonseca, James Sr., non-committee members, central and legislative staff, fellow testifiers, visitors present in the chambers, and members of the viewing and listening audience. I am Vincent Richards, Assistant Commissioner of the Virgin Islands Department of Property and Procurement. I'm here today on behalf of Commissioner Lisa M. Alejandro to testify and request support on the proposed lease agreements before this committee for consideration. The Department of Property and Procurement requests this committee's and ultimately the full Senate's approval of the lease agreements between the Government of the Virgin Islands and Roll Enterprises Incorporated, doing business as Best Car Rentals, and Banco Popular de Puerto Rico. These lease agreements all require legislative approval in accordance with 31 Virgin Islands Code subsection 205. Their terms all commence on the first day of the month following the approval of the governor and the legislature of the Virgin Islands. The rents payable under these leases shall all respectively, after respective individual grace periods, be adjusted annually, including any renewal term in accordance with the Consumer Price Index increase established by the U.S. Department of Labor Bureau of Labor Statistics. The following lease agreements require a minimum of $1 million limited general liability insurance. As the premises owner, the Department of Property and Procurement will be required to execute all permits and licenses required for the premises. These potential lessees have all provided the required documentation to support the processing of their respective lease agreements with the Government of the Virgin Islands, included but not limited to their respective business licenses and certificate of good standings. The lease agreement between Banco Popular and the Government of the Virgin Islands acting through the Department of Property and Procurement is for a portion of lot number 48B, Noragata, King's Quarter, St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, consisting of approximately 85 square feet of interior space, known as suite number 102A, in a one-story masonry building consisting of 1,250 square feet of improved property. The property will be used to operate and maintain and service a banking automatic teller machine and for other related purposes. The term of this agreement is for 10 years, and the lease agreement provides for 2 optional 5-year renewals. The annual rent for the above referenced parcels will be $18,000 annually, payable in equal monthly installments of $1,500 during the term of the lease agreement. This specific lease agreement is a final component of a public-private partnership project. By collaborating with multiple public and this private sector partner, this historic building and this historic and once derelict building was renovated, upgraded, and repurposed into a now landmark in the downtown Charlotte, Amalia. We have removed asbestos from the building, made it ADA compliant and accessible, modernized the HVAC system, and this private partner, specifically Banco Popular, installed and maintained an emergency generator at the building. The building now hosts a public restroom, which was a dire public need previously talked about for decades, a visitor center staffed by the Department of Tourism, an office space for the Virgin Islands Police Department's downtown bicycle unit, and now lastly, a much needed and conveniently located ATM machine. The lease agreement between Roll Enterprises and the government of the Virgin Islands acting through the Department of Property and Procurement is for parcel number 294, estate content, and an N9 Cruise Bay Quarters, St. John, Virgin Islands, consisting of approximately 4,820 square feet, or 0.011 U.S. acres of semi-improved land. The property will be used to operate a car rental business and for other related purposes. The term of this agreement is for 20 years, and the lease agreement provides two 10-year renewal option period. The annual rent for the subject property is $14,400 per year, payable in installments of $1,200 monthly. The proposed lease agreements These proposed lease agreements will assist these businesses as they plan for expansion and improve operations in the St. Thomas, St. John district. These lease agreements will also contribute to the ongoing growth of the U.S. Virgin Islands and the long-term stability and expansion of the economy. These properties will be returned to the government in the end of their respective lease terms in much improved condition. The Department of Property and Procurement and its Commissioner Lisa Alejandro, are the custodians of all government-owned properties. We are therefore committed to establishing mutually beneficial partnerships and agreements with tenants and developers that unlock value in GVI-owned properties. The department therefore respectfully requests that the Committee on Budget, Appropriation, and Finance vote in favor of these lease agreements. This concludes my testimony, and I'm prepared to answer any question the committee may have on the reference lease agreements. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Richards. We'll now hear from Mr. Roosevelt David. Actually, which one is first on the agenda? Mr. Roosevelt David, you may proceed.
Good day, Madam Chairperson of the Committee on Budget, Appropriations and Finance, the Honorable Donna A. Fred Gregory, and all other distinguished senators present or not. My name is Roosevelt St. Clair David, President of Roll Enterprises, Inc., doing business as Best Car Rental on St. John, and my wife, Ailita David, is the Vice President. Ailita regrets that she's unable to be in attendance at this meeting due to illness. I am here to present testimony on the renewal of a lease on 294 Anyhide Content, St. John, consisting of 4,820 square feet of government property, where we have been located for a little over 30 years. I hereby submit historical information about the family's pursuits regarding this venture, so you may get an understanding as to how we got here. During the early 1980s, my wife and I invested in this little business with the goal to sustain our family, create jobs, and generate revenues from which government continues to benefit. As we progressed, we incorporated the business in 1985. For unknown reasons, however, at the time, our nightmares started, to the point that my wife suggested that we quit and get out of this business. And my response was an adamant no way. Everywhere that we were able to secure parking spaces, we were soon to be told, you have 30 days to vacate, because government was going to do something, this or that, on that property. But to this day, nothing materialized. Frustration drove me to reach out to then Senator Ivers Tridaron, who graciously traveled to St. John to investigate the matter. Upon his return, he informed me that it was personal and that I should talk to the other senators. I reached out to all 15 and gave them the facts. Mr. Larry Sibley who was the Deputy Commissioner of Property and Procurement at that time, called me because he knew what was happening. And he said, there is a small lot on St. John which the government has no planned use for. If you are interested, I would prepare a lease for you, and I will urge the Commissioner, then Delma Hodge, to sign off. They understood our plight, and they were very sensitive. They made it happen. However, Larry Sibley informed me that the government lacked the resources to survey the property, grade it, remove the boulders, and clean it up. I paid for all of it. No reimbursement whatsoever, and I did not ask for it either. Astonishingly, as the lease was going through the process, some white folks on St. John orchestrated a plot to derail the measure. All kinds of letters and petitions were formulated with all kinds of fabrications. The 19th legislature would have none of it because they were fully briefed about the plot. The members of that body rejected their mischief and resoundingly and decisively voted in the affirmative. When the measure reached Governor Alex Farrelly's desk, not only did he sign the measure, but he personally called me and told me that he had signed the lease without hesitation and that a copy was on its way to the bank for me. At the time, I worked at the bank. He said, Roosevelt is what he used to call me. I want to send a message that my people must prosper too. Let me repeat what the governor then said. Roosevelt, I want to send a message that my people must prosper too. I do not know about the prosperity, but I experienced hard work and lots of trials and tribulations and challenges. But as a result of these leaders, we are operating at 294 in-the-height content for over 3 decades. Currently, the Commissioner of Property and Procurement, Lisa Alejandro, and Assistant Commissioner Vince Richards have been working very cooperatively with us, and we want to thank them publicly. Madam Chair, I ask for your support and the support of the other senators on this measure, and I'm very anxious to answer any questions. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. David, for your passionate testimony.
Thank you.
We'll now hear from Ms. Tiffany Gums of Banco Popular. You may proceed, Ms. Gums.
Good morning, Senator Donna Fred Gregory, Chairperson of the Committee on Budget Appropriations and Finance of the 35th Legislature of the U.S. Virgin Islands, and all other senators present. My name is Tiffany M. Gums. I am the Vice President and Manager of Region Operations for Banco Popular in the Virgin Islands region. I appear before you today to seek your ratification on the multi-year lease agreement between the government of the Virgin Islands and Banco Popular de Puerto Rico to lease a portion of lot number 48B, Noragata, Kings Quarter, St. Thomas, consisting of 85 square feet of interior space known as number 102A Suite. Popular Inc. is the leading financial institution in Puerto Rico by assets and deposits and ranks among the top 50 U.S. banks holding companies by assets. Founded in 1893, Banco Popular de Puerto Rico, the principal subsidiary of Popular Inc., provides retail, mortgage, commercial banking services in Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. Collectively, Popular operates a network of over 220 branches, 760 ATMs, and employs over 8,500 individuals within the communities we serve. Banco Popular de Puerto Rico entered the Virgin Islands in 1981 with the acquisition of the Royal Bank of Canada and began operations with one branch in Christiansted, St. Croix. Later, by acquiring Citibank and Core State First Pennsylvania Bank, the bank solidified its business in both the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Today, Banco Popular Virgin Islands region includes 9 retail branches, 3 commercial banking centers, and 3 mortgage loan centers, as well as 21 ATMs operating in St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, Tortola, and Virgin Gorda. The Virgin Islands region employs over 170 individuals, maintains an average deposits of approximately $2 billion and a loan portfolio of over $600 million, and also serves over 70,000 clients. Banco Popular remains committed to its investment in the Virgin Islands. We continue to serve our community with the focus on 4 strategic pillars: sustainable and profitable growth, creating growth opportunities for both the bank and our clients; simplicity, improving our operational efficiencies; customer focus, improving the service delivery to our clients, utilizing innovation and technology; and also fit for the future. We aim to strengthen our talent base and effectively manage risk to ensure longevity within the market. Popular takes great strides to ensure that our products are suitable and responsive to the evolving financial needs of the community. As a priority over the past 4 years, the bank has implemented key initiatives to respond to the evolving needs of our customer base by incorporating more digital channels to meet your financial needs. One key initiative was the merger of the main office and the Hibiscus Alley branch in Charlotte Amalie, which was conducted in 2023. Over the last 10 years, customer foot traffic at the Hibiscus Alley branch has steadily declined by more than 40%, but the use of the ATM remains significantly high. It was clear that the client base within the downtown Charlotte Amalie zone gave priority to the digital options available. From 2021, over 67% of deposits in the Virgin Islands are captured through digital channels, and over 54% of our clients actively use our digital app, Mi Banco. Given this shift in customer channel usage, Banco Popular has closed the Hibiscus Alley branch and entered an agreement with the Virgin Islands government to install an ATM at number 48B, Noragata, Kingswater, St. Thomas, Suite 102A. The ATM at 48B, Noragata supplements the services offered at the main office branch. This ATM provides an alternate delivery channel for cash dispensing, account inquiry, and deposit services. Since its installation, the Noragata ATM has processed over 57,000 transactions, and also an increase in usage of the easy deposit feature has demonstrated by more than 200% since the move from our Hibiscus Alley. The Noragata ATM also supplements and enhances the service offerings to our visitors at the Tourism Department's Visitor Center. I hope this information I have presented today assures this body that Banco Popular continues to respond effectively to the evolving financial needs of the Virgin Islands community, and this lease with the Virgin Islands government is a good partnership to advance economic activity. On behalf of Popular, I thank you for consideration of this lease agreement, and I remain available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony, Ms. Gums. Colleagues, we're going to go to a 4-minute round as we query the 2 leases that's before us. And we're going to start with Senator Marvin Blyden. Senator Blyden, you may proceed with your 4 minutes.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Good afternoon. Again to my colleagues, good afternoon. Former Senator David, Roosevelt David.
Good afternoon.
Assistant Commissioner Richards and Ms. Gums.
Good afternoon, Senator.
Thank you so much for your testimonies. These 2 leases are no-brainer in respect to what it does in relation to, number 1, commerce, economic development, and jobs. I must say, though, that Let me start with you, Senator David. It's a good thing that the 19th legislature understood the importance of investing in its own people despite the many challenges that you had. And thank God that you and your wife persevered. 3 decades, not a long time to be in business.
Absolutely.
And I do wish you much success moving forward and continued blessings from this side. In respect to Banco Popular,
I thank you.
To Puerto Rico, Ms. Gomes, you seem to be a young person to be operations
That's right.
Manager for this region. I say kudos and congratulations.
Thank you, Senator.
I was kind of surprised. I'm like, wow, that's very good. But what also surprised me though is the number of individuals that visits the ATM in such a short span of time. Location matters. Location is very important. And I miss Hibiscus Alley though. I ain't gonna lie to you. I miss it desperately. You know, there was never much of a line. The service was excellent. The customer service was excellent. I must say that. So I must say big up to those individuals. Did it affect any employees in terms of losing their jobs?
Tiffany Gums, Banco Popular. Thank you for that question, Senator. No, we did not have any. Our employees that were at the Hibiscus Alley were transferred to other areas. So there was no loss of jobs.
Okay, I'm happy to hear that. And also, in respect to what's going on in a reconstruction phase, are you guys doing construction loans? Do you know? I need to ask that question. It's important.
Yes, Senator. Tiffany Gums, yes, we are doing construction loans and lending.
That's good to know. I'm glad you put it on the record also. And let me go back to Senator David, because I know I need to hear a little bit from you. In respect to the pushback you had at the time, what did you do to really persevere so you can speak to others who go through the same thing every time we have a situation over there?
I fought back hard, and I planned to move forward, and I want to encourage entrepreneurs to be strong in their conviction, work hard, and never give up. It's not going to be a smooth day, every day, but at the end, it's beneficial to the business owner and the community. Yeah.
So thank you for the words of encouragement and advice. Again, I don't have much to say because, like I say, I do support both leases. And thank you so much, Madam Chair, for the time. Thank you for your responses. Thank you.
Senator Fonseca, you're recognized for your 4 minutes.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Special welcome to Senator Roosevelt David, Tiffany Gums, blessings, and of course Vincent from Property and Procurement. I am in support of both of these leases. I wanted to first discuss the 294 estate content in Enhine Cruise Bay. That's a worthy cause. Best Car Rental continues to employ locals. It's owned by locals, and we always have to support that. That's an easy one. Vincent Gums, I got to single him out, right? I think Vincent Gums is doing an awesome job in property and procurement. The amount of revenues you are bringing in with these Richards, Vince. I got some numbers in my mind here, a little think in advance. The amount of revenues with these leases you bringing in, right, is awesome. And I want to highlight this out, right, because people of the Virgin Islands, take a look at this, right? This Banco Popular lease is 85 square foot. You know the building code in the Virgin Islands, your bedroom need to be 100 square foot. So this space is less than your bedroom. And we get in $1,500 for this papa. So imagine if this was a 1,000 square foot house, a normal house, the rent would be $17,647. See money day, papa. So this is what is happening with the Virgin Islands. You see, where I keep telling the people of the Virgin Islands, things are getting better. You know, can you imagine a lease? This is what we're voting on, a lease to Banco Popular for 85 square foot. This is less than your bedroom. You can't build a bedroom at 85 square foot. The minimum is 100. Mr. Vincent Richards here is going to get us $1,500 a month. Congratulations. Madam Chair, I don't have any further questions, but I want to make one note. Yes, there's been over 57,000 transactions processed. This is a nice painted Banco Popular, little stop there, right there, by, you know, Vendors Plaza, right down here going into Main Street when you come afterwards. So this is progress for the Virgin Islands. As you can see, things are getting better. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator Fonseca, why you open Pandora's box here with me this afternoon? So, of course, I just have one pet peeve. Because even my good colleague, Senator Fonseca, is saying that this building, this space, is a Banco Popular space. That space is our welcome center for our tourists. It's downtown, it has bathrooms, and I'm going to say to Mr. Richards again, do we need to do a little appropriation so you could put up a bigger sign? Oh no, you say it's the, you did say it's the, let me, tell us what the issue is with the sign. 'Cause I didn't understand how Banco Popular, you know, sometimes you just gotta do and just get a little hit. Okay, see Banco Popular put up the sign. What are the issues with our sign? Our sign small.
Vincent Richards, Department of Property and Procurement. Senator, you're going through the budget process, so I'm sure when the Department of Tourism comes down here, you could discuss with them about putting a sign on the building, and Property and Procurement will definitely support a larger sign for the Department of Tourism and for the Virgin Islands Police Department to put a larger sign on the building. So other than that, I'd just like to say that this week or last week, when all the power was going off and going on, that building stayed energized because of Banco Popular and because of the generator that they placed on the top of that building that at a cost of, I'm sure, about $20,000. So these are the kind of partnerships that we want to enter into.
Excellent.
Okay, so
Public,
we're going to work on the sign. Once somebody puts in for their sign and pays for it, we're going to sign off for it and make sure we install that sign, a larger sign for the government agencies on that building.
Excellent public-private partnership, but I have,
and we're very close to finishing a deal to renovate and rebuild the building that sits right next to it, the old legislature, old district court building. We're very, very close, within striking distance, to get that building finally renovated, completely renovated and rebuilt and repurposed and you know, and not looking in the state that it's in.
We can't wait to hear what it's going to be used for. Make sure it includes something for the people.
Absolutely.
But I thought that the issue with the sign was the historic preservation.
Well, Senator, honestly, there is a regulation for the sign. I mean, I do have some laundry that I could wash about the sign, my concerns about the signage, but I'd rather not do it in public. But I would say, you know, if given the funds to
Banco Popular could put the sign for us, man. Don't worry about that. They could pay for the sign. Right, Ms. Gums? Yeah, we need a bigger sign. Yeah, because I joke and banter about it, but I'm very serious about it. The sign is, everybody, like I said before, I said it on the record before, a gentleman told me to meet him in town, and he said, meet him by the Banco Popular building, and I am having this. He said, yeah, man, the blue building on the corner. And I'm like, Banco Popular building on the corner? I thought they moved. So I realized that it's our visitor center. So we need to make the sign a little bigger. So our tourists could know right up front that this is the visitor center in the town of Charles Hamali when they come in.
I'm going to send the Department of Tourism, my friends, Miss Alani Henneman, I'm going to send her an email and I'll copy you on it about the sign for the building.
I'm going to email them today because they come before us, but I didn't ask them because when you spoke to me, you had me a little confused. I thought you are the one that put up the sign.
I ain't got no money.
Who put up the sign?
Which sign are we talking about?
The sign, the little 6-inch by 6-inch sign.
The Department of Tourism did. It's
Okay,
not
they
6
did.
inch by 6 inch. It's actually 2 feet by 2 feet.
2 feet by 2 feet?
Yes.
Okay.
The
The
code limits it to 4 square feet.
Okay, so we're gonna get a one resolve, one way or the other. Senator Javon James, Senior, you're recognized for your 4 minutes.
Greetings to the people of the U.S. Virgin Islands. I stand in full support of these two leases before us. I've had an opportunity to read the supporting documents that came down to the legislature. I only have one question, and my question to both who are seeking approval for lease agreements is, have you had a chance to thoroughly do an assessment to make sure that you have adequate insurance to be able to carry out your duties and to make sure that today or tomorrow we have a hurricane, you are in the green?
It's in my Roosevelt David Roll Enterprises. It's in my best interest to do that. So yes.
Next, Banco Popular.
Thank you, Senator Tiffany Gums, Banco Popular. Yes, we have ensured that we carry out the necessary insurance criteria.
That's all I have. I hope and pray we don't have any major activity this hurricane season, and may God continue to bless the Virgin Islands.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator James. Senator DeGraff, you're recognized for your 4 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon, testifiers, all of you listening and present. You know, this is the first in a while I hear the Honorable Senator David come down and ain't talking a lot. And you representing yourself. I support your business 100%.
Good, thanks.
Okay, so you normally come and represent other people and we can't stop your talk. But for your own. But we got you on this. Now, for Ms. Gomes, it's your first time. I told you I had 12 questions for you, but we'll start off. You brought some support with you in the back. Who's the young lady you brought? And, you know, she needed to be up front with you. I just want to find out.
Thank you, Senator. The young lady is just visiting, and no, she does not need to sit.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just making sure, okay, you know, to ease you, put you at ease. But you at the table there with two gentlemen who are, you know, they're the top of the game. Now, Honorable Senator David, your business has been there on St. John for how long?
We've been in business for about 40 years, but we're at the spot now for a little over 30 years.
Okay. And you're looking for 20-year to 10-year extension?
Yes.
Is that satisfactory to you?
For now, yes, we've settled for that.
Okay, good. I want to make sure. Now, for Ms. Gomes, yours is 5 years? Or is it, what are you asking for in terms of your extension? 10 years and 2 5-year extension?
Yes, Senator Tiffany Gums, we're asking for 10 years and the open ability to extend 2 more terms, 5 years each.
And that's satisfactory to you also?
Yes, at this time it is, yes.
Okay, good. And, you know, like I say, in the nighttime, the bright light there totally illuminates the whole corner. So that's a plus. So I'm very happy for that. You know, before I close out, I just wanted to know for both of you, which are, you know, like my colleague mentioned about Deputy Commissioner Richards in terms of getting things moving. He's been here before us many times. It's best we just find an extra chair for him and leave him here. But now, how has the experience been? First, Honorable, and then I close out with Ms. Gums. experience been working with Department of Public Procurement and Deputy Richards getting this process done?
Roosevelt David, Roll Enterprises. I have no problem whatsoever. When I call this gentleman, Vince Richards, he responds. And he knows his work, he knows his job, and he does it very efficiently.
Good. I'd like to hear that, Ms. Gomes.
Tiffany Gums, Mr. Richards has been very open. He's been amenable. He has been responsive. And we have not had any challenges with the process. It was outlined what needed to be done.
1 minute.
And we complied.
Okay, good. And again, Ms. Gomes, your title is at Banco Popular?
My title is Vice President and Manager for Region Operations, Banco Popular, the Virgin Islands region.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very happy to say that, you know, a young person, local, top of the game. I really happy to see that, man. And in closing, the Banco Popular area that
30
that
seconds.
you chose, or maybe you don't have any other spots you're looking at, but is Banco Popular looking at any other places, maybe the downtown area or around that area, to put any more of those ATM machines?
Thank you, Senator. We have not begun looking primarily at a specific area. It's based on the uses of the machine that we see. We will analyze that over time, and we will also consider the needs that's changing in the community to determine if we're going to expand a little further in terms of the downtown area.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator DeGraff. I think that's it for now. Before we go to the sponsor, so just to make sure that we're all on the same page, all of the requisite documentation was provided for both leases, inclusive of the liability insurance, and the both entities are required to keep in force a policy on property damage. So that is one of the requirements of the lease. I just have a quick question for Mr. David, because this is an economic development. I'm not going to say economic development because this is a renewal. Mm-hmm. But this business is on St. John.
It is.
And St. John is very important to our tourism industry. And you provide lease vehicles to many of the tourists that pass through that are GEM, correct?
Rental, yes.
So how many jobs do you provide?
Over the years, dozens of jobs.
Dozens of jobs.
Yes.
And that's important. Dozens of jobs, because you know, as we work on these leases, it's important for folks to understand that once we say yes to these leases, it keeps folks employed in the territory. So I don't really have any questions for either yourself or Banco Popular other than the creation of jobs. I guess I have one more question. So you say one is for another 30 years?
Maybe 40.
Another 40?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I was here, you know, I pushed for Banco Popular to get 100 years. And they did get that.
Okay. So I'm just saying, you're doing another 40, so just give me the portion. Okay? Just give me the portion. But I don't see any reason why we would not support these two measures. Now we are able to just walk across the street and go to the money machine. I just want a sign bigger. That's all. I just want a sign bigger. But I too want to lend my voice to congratulating you, former Senator David, on the fact that, you know, while the territory has gone through troubling times economically, we've gone through COVID, we've experienced several hurricanes in the, 30 years?
Yeah.
In the 30 years that you've been in existence, your business is still up and running, and you ought to be commended for that, because, you know, it's not easy to run a business, and especially in an economy like the economy that we have. So I want to commend you for staying staying in the paint and ensuring that you
Lots of
contribute
Yes, lots
to
of
the
challenges.
yes, you contribute to the economic prosperity of the Virgin Islands. So I'll continue to pay your taxes. So that's an important part of what we do, as you know, as we work on our budget. So you're helping us, our tax revenues, as we build our budgets to provide services to the people in the territory. Likewise yourself for the Banco Popular. So I'm going to turn this over to the sponsor of the legislation, Senator Novalee Francis Jr. You're recognized for your 4 minutes.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and thank you to my colleagues for their support of this two measures before us. And I also want to thank Honorable Senator David as well as Ms. Gums for their testimony on these measures and being able to responsively answer the questions that have been posed against them today in regards to this. Of course, the car rental provide for employment, they provide for taxes and fees that goes into the coffers of the government of the Virgin Islands. It provides for tourism and business access as well as customer service, so I want to thank them for that. Certainly the ATM provides service, accessibility, cash availability, and right next to the vendors plaza, so I think is critically positioned, and not to mention that we have used it ourselves at the legislature when we get knocked up for donations and contributions. We kind of run over there and be able to support and assist some of our constituents in their requests for various financial support in any way, shape, or form. So I think this is a win-win, and certainly I too want to join my voice in congratulating Ms. Gums. I believe that Ms. Roebuck sent an excellent representative to defend the lease before us, and I want to implore her to continue to do what she's doing there and continue to rise on the ladder that she's been doing there. Mr. David, any words of wisdom? You, the man with lyrics. Certainly in terms of our car rental on St. John, how's business? Business good?
Well, we had a good season, but now it's in the slow period, and so you just got to walk with the tide. Walk with the tide.
What is the creativity that happens when you do have that slow period? Of course, I guess it's give you opportunity to maintain your vehicles and do different things, but any creativity, how you utilize your rental vehicles during the slow period?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question because everything can't remain the same. You've got to make adjustments accordingly, and what we do, our website, we adjust it. And then we come up with a strategy. I don't want my competitors to know exactly what I'm doing. But we reach out to many areas and sit and chat with them, and we do certain things and offer certain incentives, and they will come. They will come.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that. I spent some time on St. John recently, and I'll tell you that the island was tipping over in terms of tourists that were there, and certainly very good commentary and people enjoying themselves. Mr. Richards, Assistant Commissioner Richards, thank you again for bringing these two leases together and working with these leasees to getting it to this point. You have been doing a good job, I must say, and we continue to thank you for your service there and implore you to continue to make sure that we're providing these lease to entities that's requesting them, because it bodes well where we're putting, as you have mentioned in your testimony, put these properties to good use, rather than having them derelict or just out there doing nothing. So continue the good job that you're doing in that area. Madam Chair, I have nothing further to add to this discussion here today. I believe that my colleagues have already asked the right questions, and we're ready to vote.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion, Madam Chair.
You may proceed.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair and colleagues. I offer Bill number 35-0284, an act approving the lease agreement. I motion that the Bill number 35-0284, an act approving the lease agreement between the government of the Virgin Islands, acting through its Commissioner of the Department of Property and Procurement, and Rural Enterprise, Inc., doing business as Best Car Rental, parcel number 294, Estate Cantan and Inai, Cruise Bay Quarter St. John, Virgin Islands, for continued operation of a car and Jeep rental business and for other related purposes, be approved by the Committee of the Rules, Committee of Budget, Appropriations, and Finance, and sent to the Rules and Judiciary Committee for further vetting. I so move.
Thank you, Senator Francis Jr. Bill number 35-0284 has been properly moved by Senator Novelli Francis Jr., seconded by Senator Fonseca, Senator Blyden, Senator DeGraff. Hearing no objections, roll call, please.
Senator Marvin Blyden? Senator Blyden, yeah. Senator Samuel Carrion? Senator Samuel Carrion absent. Senator Dwayne DeGraff? Yes. Senator DeGraff, yes. Senator Ray Fonseca? Yes. Senator Fonseca, yes. Senator Novelli Francis Jr.?
Yeah.
Senator Francis Jr., yeah. Senator Donna A. Fred Gregory?
Yes.
Senator Fred Gregory, yes. Senator Javani James Sr.?
Yes.
Senator James Sr., yes. Madam Chair, 6 yeas and 1 absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Bill number 35-0284, an act approving the lease agreement between the Government of the Virgin Islands, acting through its Commissioner of the Department of Property and Procurement, and Rural Enterprises, Inc., doing business as Best Car Rental, parcel number 294, Estate Contant, and Inahai, Cruise Bay Quarter, St. John, Virgin Islands, for the continued operation of a car and Jeep rental business and for other related purposes, have been favorably voted upon in this committee and will be sent to the Rules Committee for the Rules and Judiciary Committee for further consideration and action. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
You may proceed.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair and colleagues, I move that Bill number 35-0294, a multi-year lease between the Government of the Virgin Islands and Banco Popular de Puerto Rico, be approved by the committee members of the Committee of Budget, Appropriations, and Finance, and sent forward to the Rules and Judiciary Committee for further vetting. I so move.
Bill number 35-0294 has been properly moved by Senator Novelli Francis Jr., seconded by Senator Ray Fonseca, Senator Dwayne M. DeGraff, Senator Marvin A. Blyden. Hearing no objections, roll call, please.
Senator Marvin Blyden?
Yeah.
Senator Blyden, yeah. Senator Samuel Carrion? Senator Carrion absent. Senator Dwayne M. DeGraff? Yes. Senator DeGraff, yeah. Senator Ray Fonseca? Yeah. Senator Fonseca, yeah. Senator Novelli Francis Jr.?
Yeah.
Senator Francis Jr., yes. Senator Dana A. Fred Gregory?
Yes.
Senator Fred Gregory, yes. Senator Javani James Sr.?
Yes.
Senator James Sr., yes. Madam Chair, 6 yeas, 1 absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Bill number 35-0294, an act approving the lease agreement between the Government of the Virgin Islands and Banco Popular de Puerto Rico for a portion of lot number 48B, Nuragata, Kings Quarter, St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, has been properly moved and has been voted favorably upon on this committee and be sent to the Rules and Judiciary Committee for further consideration and action. Thank you for spending a portion of your day with us. We have exhausted the matters of the Rules and Judiciary Committee, of the Budget and Appropriations Committee for today. I too want to lend my voice to congratulating Ms. Gums on the work that she does for Banco Popular. The one thing that you guys did not say is she's a girl. Yeah.
I expected that.
Congratulations to you for all the work that you do. And of course, please give my regards to your other Vice President, Ms. Oran Robert-Bori.
Senior Vice President.
Senior Vice President, that's right, Senior Vice President.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. It was an honor to be here today.
All right, and we're going to allow each of you a 30-second close. We're going to start with Mr. Richards, and then we'll proceed with Mr. former Senator David, and then yourself, Ms. Gums.
Madam Chair, I'd just like to say thank you. I'll be remiss if I don't mention the names of William Harris, Ray Clark, Christina Perez, Arlette Hodge, Ms. Sierra Morton, Ms. Jamila Dulam Singh, and I know I'm missing one somewhere. And the entire staff, my commissioner, and the entire staff of Property and Procurement and the Property Division that supports me and supports what we do. We try to hit 100% and knock the ball out the park all the time. We don't get it right all the time, but we do try to get it right, and we do try to come every day and make positive impact on people's lives and get our job done at the Department of Property and Procurement. So, Senator Fonseca, thank you for the accolades. I appreciate it, but it's a team effort. It's not done by one person. So, thank you very much. Okay, I appreciate it.
Mr. David?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. I want to thank you and the rest of the committee members for your diligence and having the understanding of what drives the economy. As a trained banker, I came from an institution that recognizes that the economy moves by economic activity. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to encourage all of our senators and others in the community to develop programs that could incentivize young people, more young people, to get into business and use your power and your authority to help them to move forward, not to depress them, because we have enough stress in this community already. So I want to commend you for the work that you do, and I just want us to get together to help younger people to move forward in a process similar to this. I thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gums?
Thank you. I'd like to thank Commissioner Lisa Alejandro of Property and Procurement, Assistant Commissioner Vincent Richards for spearheading this initiative of Banco Popular being able to place an ATM in the downtown to support our community. And I would like to thank you, Madam Chair, and the remaining senators for supporting the initiative. We are thankful and we welcome the opportunity to serve the people throughout the community as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. And I guess it's important for us, for me to also commend Mr. Richards for actually working with Banco Popular to ensure that we do have that ATM machine in the downtown area. So, Mr. Richards, thank you for all that you do as well. We know that at times it's very difficult, and we do give you, we'll rough you up a little bit. But one thing with you, to stand your ground. So, stand your ground. Yes, yes, you're right. Iron sharpens iron, absolutely. So today is an early day for us, and we're going to take advantage of that. The Committee of Budget Appropriations and Finance meeting of Friday, July 11th is hereby adjourned.
Go ahead.